In today's news, Rodney Skelton speaks out. Governor doubles down on having Police Act pass, expresses commitment to protecting human rights. Let's hear the Premier's side of the story, says L. Allen Wheatley. And of course, I have long called for an early election, says Carvin Malone. Of course, the delays continue to affect the approval of residency and belongership. We have the details of the process with these applications, and CARICOM summit hit by anti-immigration protest. We have the details of this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're
impacting
feeling
me.
it.
Lonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on popular.
Hello everyone, it is Friday, February 17th, 2023. Welcome to this edition of 284 News. I'm Ron Grant, bringing you the latest out of Tortola, Virgin Islands, and of course, beyond. Thank you so much for joining us, and a happy Friday's wish to each and every one of you. Beginning our newscast on the local scene, former director of the BVI Tourist Board, deputy director that is, Mr. Rodney Skelton, in a recent interview with our agency, spoke about his recent departure at the board that would have led to his exit after some 19 years.
I shouldn't have to apply for the position, seeing that I've already I'd been acting director on multiple occasions. Nonetheless, I applied, and the former government formed a special committee to conduct the interviews for Director of Tourism, which goes against the BVI Tourist Board Act. It's always the board of directors who selects. So when I went into the first interview and I realized, well, wait, this is not the board of directors. These are people that don't even have anything to do with tourism. I think the only person on there would have been the chairwoman at that time, Ms. Sproul. And so I instantly knew something was a little amiss. Ron, everybody knows Rodney Skelton. I'm pretty straightforward. I speak my mind. I really don't hold back. And so it kind of came off as, okay, this is a concerted effort. If Rodney is the natural successor and we're doing something totally different, clearly they're not happy with having me as the director. So right away, and then obviously someone else got the job, someone who was my junior was given the opportunity to be director. So you feel a little slighted, and we're human. Big tough guy, everybody knows me. But I'm human, you still feel a little bit slighted. I said, okay, well, let's give this a shot and see how this works. Maybe it's just not my time. Well, 2 years have passed since then, and the position is now up again. And the current board members have said they're going in a different direction, which means Rodney Skelton, again, would not be afforded the opportunity despite all of my qualifications. You know that I went away to school to get a master's degree specifically in tourism. Having 19 at the time would have been about 16 years of experience and all of that. And so to be slighted twice, that was kind of a hard pill to swallow after 19 years. And so then the talk came up about, okay, well, let's see, about going in a different direction. I don't think I could do it again. Mental health matters. I'm a person that never really felt that. I'm like, listen, you just put your foot down, one step in front of the other, deal with today, and get ready for tomorrow.
Skelton also addressed being snubbed for the post of director on more than one occasion.
When you find yourself waking up and unsure if you want to go to the office, unsure if you want to deal with certain people, then you know that something is a little amiss. So we came to the point where there was an impasse, and as I mentioned in a previous interview, I came down to a take it or leave it, and that makes it even more bitter for me, because there was an opportunity to say, okay, well, since we're going in a different direction, let's let Mr. Skelton go and wish him the best. And that I won't go into too much of the details because there's still some more things on the table to deal with. But it was not a situation of, this is a local guy who has given of his time, sacrificed for 19 years. Let's send him off the right way. Maybe now is not his time, but let's do the right thing by him. That did not happen. So that makes my departure. This is not the way that I wanted to leave the tourist board. Your passion is your purpose.
Absolutely.
And you want to know what your job is, what is the reason that God has you here. Find whatever you're just absolutely passionate about. And this is one of those things. So I love my job. If they call me back tomorrow, under the right circumstances, I will be glad to go in.
He also spoke on the level of political interference and victimization across the Virgin Islands.
And so people come in with these personal biases. They come in with political motives. And unfortunately, we let those things get in the way of the people who can really, make a difference and help us to succeed and all of that good stuff. It's just frustrating.
I understand and I appreciate your honesty in sharing that. I have to go back to a couple of things that you touched on. The first being, why is it that you feel, you may not have the answer to this, unfortunately though, why do you feel that you, and some persons will call it snubbed for the director on more than one occasion?
Because of the person that RHODNI is.
Speaking, of course, on what's next for him and whether he would consider political office, this is what Mr. Skelton had to say.
I think a lot of people who've contested elections, they've done so for their own personal reasons, and maybe you want to have the title and power, as they say. That wouldn't be it for me. It has to be that there's something that people see in me, and they want me, whether it's I vote in the 4th district or at large, everybody knows me throughout the territory, but it has to be. And then, there's the whole party system, and we're going into an arena now where I think the voting populace, they're welcoming more independent candidates who are non-affiliated. So there's lots to discuss, and we have a short space of time for this election, but that is not priority for me now. In terms of what's next for me, that is not priority, but it is something, if the people want it, when the people call for you, you got to go.
And continuing on in the Virgin Islands, Governor of the Virgin Islands, His Excellency John Ranking, has seemingly doubled down in defending his stance to see the Police Act 2023 pass through the House of Assembly. His Excellency Governor John Ranking says he is committed to protecting the human rights of residents across the territory. Now, since its introduction in 2019, the new Police Act has been met with backlash not only from residents but also legislators within the House of Assembly. The most recent version of the legislation has been deemed by many as containing measures that will be problematic to the BVI. It also gives law enforcement officers more powers, which in some instances infringes on the rights, the human rights, that is, of residents within the territory. Speaking during a recent press conference in response to questions posed by the media, Governor Ranking said the new Police Act is needed to ensure that the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is equipped with the necessary legislation to properly execute its duties.
First of all, I am fully committed to protecting the human rights of individuals within this territory. BVI is a territory which benefits from the European Convention of Human Rights applying to it, and indeed my own background as a human rights lawyer, and I would always wish to do nothing which is a contravention of international human rights standards. Secondly, let me say that the Police Act and its updating has actually been in progress for many years, and therefore it is not a rushed piece of legislation. And what's also important is that while protecting human rights, we also give the police the modern techniques which are required to tackle modern crime. And one of those techniques, for example, is taking DNA samples so DNA fingerprinting can be carried out. And if that is used and necessary, for example, to catch a rapist, then I make no apology for that. So we need law which is effective for effective policing in this territory, but also respects human rights. And I hope the House of Assembly will be able to pass such legislation.
The governor also addressed some of the new stipulations being proposed, such as entering a home without a warrant, which he said in some cases is, believe it or not, necessary.
Well, as regards going to a house without a warrant, sometimes in the emergency situation, that will self-evidently be required. If the police have reason to believe that a serious crime is going to be committed, if someone is going to be subject of a violent assault or a murder, then the police need to act to protect the individual. As regards the question of the timing when the Police Act was introduced into the House of Assembly, that with respect is a matter for the government and the House of Assembly. I would have wished it to be done earlier, but I hope nonetheless that the Act can be given appropriate consideration.
The Police Act 2023 will seek to replace the current 3-decade-old Police Act. The National Unity Government has come under fire following indications from Governor John Ranking, that members of the House of Assembly were given a choice of dissolving the House of Assembly and proceeding with an early election following the arrest of former Premier Andrew Foy and subsequent release of the Commission of Inquiry, but chose not to do so. Ranking spoke while fielding questions from the press earlier this week. The news sent shockwaves throughout the community, particularly in circles that have questioned the formation of the National Unity Government as it relates to the democratic process. Now, former Financial Secretary, 8th District candidate in the upcoming general elections, Allen Wheatley, shared his views on the matter during a recent appearance on Tola Radio. Wheatley said he believes that while members of the public continue to react to the governor's recollection of the events, Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley ought to be given a chance to share the government's perspective.
Because you heard the governor's side, okay? So give the Premier the benefit to bring his side, and then we take it from there, one step at a time. But let's get to closure.
I like that.
That's what I think everybody wants. Closure and move on. Two options, or from what I understand, you could correct me if I'm wrong, were made available. A decision was made sort of, let's say without consultation, that most of the public would have liked to have. And thus we're in the situation that we're in. And at this point, what I would say about that is, and most people will not want to hear this, is that we're already in it. And what we have to do now, in my opinion, is get to elections as fast as possible.
Yes.
And allow the people of this country to choose who they want to lead them going forward.
Judgment.
Wheatley, who has been known to be critical of the present government, said that no matter the circumstance which led to this point, the fact remains that this is where the territory is and focus needs to remain on moving forward.
From what I understand, you could correct me if I'm wrong, were made available. A decision was made sort of, let's say without consultation, that most of the public would have liked to have. And thus we're in the situation that we're in. And at this point, what I would say about that is, and most people will not want to hear this, is that we're already in it. And what we have to do now, in my opinion, is get to elections as fast as possible.
Yes.
And allow the people of this country to choose who they want to lead them going forward.
Viewers, when we return, we have more local news. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
Sonny.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man forget you.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up or what?
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Is someone gonna get that?
Hello.
Hello.
So nice of you to have cleaned up for us. Hi, baby.
We're like in-laws that don't show up unannounced.
Don't worry, I've got this.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Speaking in the wake of the governor's revelation that House of Assembly members were given the choice of proceeding with an early election last May, Territorial At-Large Representative, the Honorable Carvin Malone, has doubled down on his belief that Virgin Islanders should have been given the chance to choose their fate at this time.
In terms of blaming, who to blame? Is this and so forth? Is anyone aggrieved? Yes, the people are aggrieved, people who have been done wrong and so forth, right? But even if we correct it in our particular self, because we have to ourselves, we have to be real, okay? To ourselves, we have to be real. I called for the elections. I called the elections a long time ago because you must decide who you want to take you through this other stage. I said it is wrong to have a order in council with this overhead, with the elections going on, with the look at our constitution. And all of this is wrong.
Now, in light of this, viewers, Malone also touched on being excluded from the cabinet of the National Unity Government. While he did not confirm that he was informed that persons under investigation in relation to the COI report would be excluded from the government, Malone said this criterion did not impact him. He reiterated that he was made to give up his ministry due to his relationship with the former Premier Andrew Foy.
Folks will tell me that I'm blaming UK. I'm not blaming UK for anything. However, the circumstances are what they are, right? This commission of inquiry came in. When they looked, when the commission of inquiry came in, it was held. It was a timetable for release. The April 28th activity happened, and within 48 hours, you had officials from the UK coming down. They give the team a very short window. I don't know. I was not inside the room where they met with the particular overseas territory personnel. Yes. I don't know, except for what was told to me, what transpired, right? Wow. But they give them a very short period within which to make. I don't know if it was ultimatums. I don't know if it was decisions. But when it came out that particular window, I know what was told to me. So the fact is, it was told that those persons who were listed or named in the report would not be allowed to come into cabinet. They will not be desirous of being held in cabinet. But we need your seat. I said, well, what is my sin? I'm too close to Mr. Foy. Now, I thought that was a bit much in terms of what it is, but I told you before, and every time I come on the show, I tell you the same thing. I was not going to allow my name to be used as the reason why the Constitution was suspended.
Earlier this week, Malone released a brief statement stating that he has had no knowledge of any active or pending investigations into himself. This amid rumors that he was among individuals questioned in relation to an investigation outlined with the Commission of Inquiry report. Now, to that end, Malone said he will not be restricted from becoming a member of the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands by instructions of the Governor of the United Kingdom. Continuing on the local scene, delays have continued to affect the approval of the residency and belongership status of course applications. Delays are still continuing to plague this process of approving residency and belongership applications within the territory of the Virgin Islands. His Excellency Governor John Ranking made the disclosure during a recent press conference as he updated the public on the progress of the National Unity Government in their pursuit of implementing the Commission of Inquiry report recommendations. Now, Governor Ranking revealed that in excess of some 1,000 applications have been submitted to be processed since June of 2022, with little progress made in dealing with the new applications. He also informed that a backlog exists that predates June 2022, with some 53 previous applications for belongership and some 43 for residency awaiting Cabinet's decision.
The severe delays that are occurring in the processing of applications for residency and belongership. The government is expressly committed to following the current law, which stipulates a residency threshold of 10 years for belongership. Since 1st June 2022, 1,102 applications for residency and belongership have been made. But from the information available to me, little, if any, progress has been made in dealing with these applications. Moreover, there's a backlog in previous applications which have still not come forward for decision. This needs to be resolved.
Now, the governor has many questions as to why the process continues to be stalled, stating that staffing issues should not be the main constraint within this particular case.
If part of the problem is around capacity constraints within the immigration department, then this frankly should have been sorted out already. Under the framework document, the government made a commitment to prioritise and allocate resources to ensure reform.
Now, according to B33 of the COI report, it calls for a review of the existing policy and process governing how the residency and belongership status is awarded to individuals. Governor Ranking said a new deadline for the completion of this recommendation has been set for October of 2023, following the appointment of reviewer Mr. Malone, who will lead the review process. Viewers, up next, we have more local news as well as, of course, panning across the region. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Is that my lunch? Is that my lunch?
We're like the coworker that doesn't eat your lunch.
I'm John. I'm John.
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Yo, everything good there?
Why? This thing got me one way, daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Welcome back, everyone. The government of the Virgin Islands is seeking the public's input into the culture development policy of a culture and heritage policy strategy. Now, the formulation of this document is in alignment, they say, with the Virgin Islands National Sustainable Development Plan, Vision 2036, building a sustainable Virgin Islands, which engaged the public through more than 60 stakeholder consultations. Take a look at this report. The government of the Virgin Islands is seeking the public's input on the development of a culture and heritage policy and strategy. The formulation of this document is in alignment with the Virgin Islands National Sustainable Development Plan, Vision 2036, building a sustainable Virgin Islands, which engage the public through more than 60 stakeholder consultations. Premier and Minister of Culture, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, said public consultations for the plan revealed that one of the main priority areas of concern of the people was protecting national identity, fostering cultural integration, heritage, culture, education, and nation building. Premier Wheatley said in keeping with his practice of transparency, the Department of Culture continues to be informed by the public in the development of the Virgin Islands culture and heritage policy and strategy that will ensure that the policy is reflective of a wide range of views and ideas. The Premier stated that the policy will be instrumental in promoting Virgin Islands culture and noted that the document will not only be useful for the contemporary relevance of culture and heritage, but for prosperity. The Premier stated that the policy will be instrumental in promoting Virgin Islands culture and noted that the document will not only be useful in the contemporary relevance of culture and heritage, but for posterity. The Virgin Islands has a distinct culture comprising of invaluable, intangible, and tangible components, he said. It permeates our very consciousness as a people. It is the foundation of who we see the world, how we behave, and how others see us. He added, we are proud of our culture and how it has shaped our experiences and enriched our lives. The formulation of a cultural policy will help us to reflect on, celebrate, preserve, reinforce culture in our institutions, and harness its economic potential. The draft Virgin Islands Culture and Heritage Policy and Strategy will be circulated for public and community consultation with accompanying public meetings. Consultations will be organized with the government ministries and departments, statutory bodies, non-profit organizations, artists, and culture and tradition bearers. Town hall meetings will also be scheduled on the 4 main islands. Public consultations will be facilitated through an online platform to ensure widespread participation. Premier Wheatley said that it is critical to the Department of Culture and all organizations and stakeholders that constitute the Culture and Heritage Institutional Framework contribute to the ongoing discussion on the revised policy and strategy. The current Virgin Islands culture policy was finalized in 2013 and was influenced by recommendations made by UNESCO consultants A.J. Seymour and Neville Dawes in 1981 and 1982 respectively. The document was formulated following consultations with government ministries, cultural organizations, cultural practitioners, and the public. The schedule for public consultations on the 4 main islands will be disseminated. The draft Virgin Islands Culture and Heritage Policy and Strategy is accessible on the Government of the Virgin Islands website. The public is also invited to send in written submissions to the Department of Culture. The public is also invited to send in written submissions to the Department of Culture via the email address viculture@gov.vg. The Department of Culture is hosting a Love Our BVI Culture poetry and photo competition, of course, in celebration of February, which is known as Love Month. More on this report. The Department of Culture is hosting a Love Our BVI Culture poetry and photo competition in celebration of February as the month of love. Deputy Director Ms. Ann Leonard said the department is excited to roll out its first competition, which will provide an opportunity to creatively challenge the minds of the territory's people in expressing their poetic and photography skills while fostering a sense of love and appreciation for its culture. She said, and I quote, "We hope that the entries from members of the public will showcase not only their creativity, but also their love for our territory. We encourage every eligible person to participate in this event. The poetry word count is 10 lines minimum. The rules and guidelines for the photography portion of the contest can be accessed on the Department of Culture's Facebook page, Virgin Islands Department of Culture. Residents are invited to submit poems or pictures to the competition, which is open to all residents in children and adult categories. The age groups are 13 to 17 and 18 and older. Prizes will be awarded for first, second, and third place winners in each category. Only one entry per person per category is allowed. Prizes will be distributed to winners on February 28 at the office of the Department of Culture between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Prizes for winners in each section for the children's category is first place $100, second place $75, and third place $50. Prizes for winners in each section for the adult category are first place $200, second place $150, and third place $75. Additional prizes are sponsored by the BVI Tourist Board. For additional information on the Love Our BVI Culture Poetry and Photo Competition, contact the department at 284-468-4374. And folks, that is all the time we have today. I want to thank you so much for rocking with us for this entire week. Of course, you've been watching 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands, of course, bringing you the latest in local news and beyond. I'm Ron Grant. It is always a pleasure. A happy Friday to each and every one of you. Be sure to tune in tomorrow morning for our Jaka Whittings. Of course, she will be bringing you the latest in the top stories of this past week. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.